In a world where people seek new opportunities, some borders remain closed. What if the dream of starting a new life in another country was out of reach? Which countries have strict immigration laws that make it nearly impossible for immigrants to enter? Let's dive into the nations where immigration is tightly restricted. In modern society, immigration is one of the most discussed issues for several decades. As much as most countries have embraced immigration to host foreigners, others have taken a different approach, either embracing strict or near inaccessible immigration policies. However, why do some countries put so much limit on immigration? These include political motives as well as protective measures in terms of culture and economic status. In this video, we will look at several countries that either do not allow or severely limit immigration, study their reasons for doing so, and learn more about these countries in the context of globalization and integration. Number 1, North Korea. Since North Korea's regime is fully dictatorship, it is perhaps one of the most restricted countries not only to immigrants, but even to own citizens. The main reason for such policies is political opportunism that aims to shield the political system from external interferences with the well-crafted and firm political order policies. In this respect, one can pinpoint that North Korea has very strict conditions for foreigners to be able to obtain residence permits. The country provides serious restrictions for the individuals who can enter the country, with only very few exceptions given to diplomats or humanitarian workers, provided that they will report to their supervisors frequently. Notable cases. It would be difficult to make many references to the few immigrants who were accepted to join the community of the North Korean citizens. Temporary visitors are also strictly controlled and limited by the government, hence capturing the ministry's anti-immigration state. While North Korea's closed borders are fueled by political isolation, other countries focus on economic or cultural concerns to justify their strict policies. Number 2, Japan is a modern, economically developed country, which, however, has one of the lowest rates of immigration in the world. Pride in culture and concern with losing the national identity are the reasons behind its rather conservative immigration policies. Japan is one of the most restricted countries in Europe and America in as much as immigration, especially regarding the permanent residency or citizenship. While the country does permit some measure of foreign labor, this is primarily kept in rather selective niches, and to become a legal resident or citizen of the country is all but impossible. Notable cases. Japan has experienced shortage of human resources, particularly employees. Thus, their call for easing restrictions on immigration policies. But as we see, due to the economical necessity, it is not removed, because the Japanese culture constantly worries about the loss of the Japanese identity. While Japan's policies are built on cultural protection, another country focuses heavily on economic and religious factors. Number 3, Saudi Arabia. Apparently, the expansion of immigration policies is determined by the Saudi Arabian economic model and the impact of Islam as a religion. The kingdom is populated by a vast number of foreign workers, although the government regulates the ability of such individuals to gain residency. Religion and nationalist factors are very important in shaping its policies towards immigration. Policies. Saudi Arabia hosts millions of foreign workers, but the probability of receiving permanent residency or citizenship is extremely low. It has a kafala system, which binds workers to their employers, and they are only allowed to leave when their contract expires. The strict laws are in place to make sure that foreign workers do not bring in their families and change the demographics of the nation from being Islamic. Notable cases. Here are several examples that took place. Some foreign workers were deported or otherwise remained stuck in Saudi Arabia under abusive working conditions because of the kafala system, all of which proves that Saudi's immigrants in this country can exercise extremely limited rights. Economic and religious influences also drive the policies of another country on our list, but this nation also considers geographic and environmental factors. Number 4, Bhutan, a tiny country located in the eastern part of the Himalayas, is a constituent kingdom that has a massive concern of developing sustainable, environmental, and cultural tourism. As Bhutan wants to preserve Buddhism and its sensitive landscape, the country has one of the world's toughest immigration policies. Despite the fact that the country is open to tourism, the immigration standards are rather severe, and very few foreigners are permitted to live there. Obtaining Bhutanese citizenship is not easy, and even for those who wish to live in Bhutan for an extended period, there are strict procedures one has to go through. Notable cases. Bhutan has remained extremely protective of their culture, and this is reflected by the fact that foreign influence has always been restricted to some extent. For instance, while the country concentrates on gross national happiness instead of gross domestic product, order is its general intention to preserve internal balance without applying it through immigration. While Bhutan's policies are driven by preservation, our next country enforces restrictions to protect its unique political structure. Number 5, Liechtenstein. Liechtenstein is one of the richest and smallest countries in Europe. Their immigration policies are rather rigid, owing to their conservative approach to political and economic stability. Citizens of the nation are few, but the government tried its best to make it not overcrowded. Policies. Acquiring citizenship in Liechtenstein is very hard. In most cases, one has to wait for several decades, or even be married to a citizen. However, the approval of these values takes the aspect of a local vote within the small communities, that from the larger country. Notable cases, immigration policies in Liechtenstein are rather stringent. Hence, the population is generally controlled and balanced, and there are few people of immigrant status permitted to establish themselves permanently. Some of these countries include North Korea, Japan, Saudi Arabia, Bhutan, and Liechtenstein. All of them do not allow even a single immigrant into their countries, while others like Canada, Australia, and Germany will allow all those skilled immigrants to come and settle in their respective countries. Thus, the trends in the attitude towards immigrants are not only cultural but also political and even economic patterns of different nations' interactions in the context of globalization. As we've seen, countries with restrictive immigration policies often prioritize national identity, economic stability, or political control, while the world continues to evolve and borders become less defined by geography. These immigration laws will shape the future of global migration. The question we must ask ourselves is, how will these policies impact those who dream of starting fresh in a new land? What does it mean for the future of humanity's global journey? Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content.